You guys could have
Thank
talked the
you,
whole
Donna.
time, but
Thank you. This was great.
Did good.
thank you. Fraser, you
Thank
got a
you. That was
question?
awesome.
Thank you. You have a question, Fraser?
No, no, I was just giving you a virtual applause there with a hand.
Oh, okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. I thought you had left us. You look like you was putting your coat on to get out of there.
No, no.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So,
Awesome work.
did anybody have any thoughts on any of the exercises and how they feel like if they can kind of integrate it into their daily life?
I I think well, first of all, Art, thank you for your presentation. I came in late, so I'm gonna have to go back and review it. And you may have said some things that I'm about to say. I think starting off small and like how you're saying with the affirmation, your prep talks with yourself, and it doesn't cost to smile. It doesn't cost to say hello. One of the things is that we got to be mindful that we need to do it without expectations, so we don't get our feelings hurt. Because sometimes we do things with expectations and say, "Well, I tried that, and it didn't work." But if you do it without expectations, it's just look at it as you're just steady prepping yourself, you know, and you're just warming yourself up. So, um, I like to give people compliments, and hey, that is gorgeous. That's what
You didn't see that.
what'd you say? Oh, I like to give people compliments. So that's something that can help some people who are more introverts, helps them come out their shell. And also building yourself up not to be scared or afraid. I know that I can become shy at times, believe it or not. Um, in certain areas, like, oh yes, this is all great. And then it's like, yeah, let's try that tomorrow. I had to do like the weather is suitable tomorrow. But I had to talk to myself and to train myself in certain areas. And small steps is the ones that lead to the big steps. That's all.
Okay. Thank you, Secunda.
I like how you added the self-care portion because that does help build confidence, confidence for your openers. I know that if you feel, well, I'm just going to say in my perspective, if I feel pretty, then a lot of times, like, I wouldn't, be so afraid to have those openers or whatever when I meet people. Um, but yeah, but I think that's good stuff to use because I know that I was one of the people that did say that I had trouble with my openers. So thanks for those tips.
I
Oh,
want to piggyback off of Sheila too. Um, the self care slide, well, all of it was good, but I will say for the self care slide, what stood out to me, I like that the model that you chose was not your standard of beauty. She was a little more full figured because oftentimes people think that because they're too thin or they're too big that they're not attractive. And so one of my affirmations for myself, because I am tall and I'm also full figured, that God created me as his masterpiece. So all of us have something about us that's so dynamic, and that there's somebody out there that what you don't like about yourself, they're loving it, and you have to learn to love it like they do. So, you have to embrace who you are, where you are right now. And so that's what I want to say about that, the self-care thing. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and not to be like boastful, but say, what, I am a beauty all by myself. So and embrace it.
agreed. Yeah. I think that it's good for anybody to focus in on, because I mean, we all have things that we would like to change or we would like to be different, but there's a lot of things that are good, things that we actually do like about ourselves. And so reminding ourselves of those things and embracing those things, I think is important to remember, because we can get stuck on the negative sometimes and forget all about, the good things about ourselves, whether it's physical or, intellectual. And so it's good to remind ourselves of those things. And regardless of what is going on, if you work to present your best self, and I don't mean present to the world, but to yourself, like when you look in the mirror, do you feel like you've given up, or are you looking at yourself and saying, okay, I'm taking care of myself, I'm doing things that I know I need to do for me? Then it affects your attitude, it affects how you interact with people. And you can be stereotypically gorgeous, but if you're not taking care of yourself, then that comes through. And and it'll be kind of one of those like, something going on with them. The person may not be able to put their finger on it, but they're like, yeah, they're not together, there's something going on, there's a problem. So we want to do what we can for our best selves, for our mental well-being. True, Davida.
Mm-hmm.
Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting. That is very true.
Yes, it
And
is.
there's some
and
charming
somebody else,
people out there.
I think it was Trisha. Yeah, she said beauty comes from our heart, truly. Like you said, all that outer stuff, you know what I say? I said, shoot, this is hair and makeup, like that's when you go on a set, they do your hair and makeup, right? When you come off the set, what is there that's beautiful after that? Has to be something beautiful about you.
Right. True. Very true.
Very true. Tashawn, I liked learning about the first impression and the last impression, because I think oftentimes, personally, I could put so much pressure on that. Like, how should I present myself? Just overthinking on something. And it's like, really just be your authentic self. Lead with kindness, like she said, just say, hey, how are you? I'm so-and-so, and that's really your best first impression. And then if you are feeling the person after that conversation, end with a future question or statement, just letting that person know that, I would like to either see you again or talk to you again, any way that we can. So I really liked learning about that, because I think people can put a lot of pressure on what their first impression or last impression should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Mo,
so
I want to say
nerve-wracking.
something about that real quick. So I did go on Valentine's Day to a singles thing in my area, and we went bowling, and it was a lot of fun. Now, the guy that basically they already assigned us to lanes. So there were 6 people to a lane. The first 4 people were couples. They were 2 and 2. And so me and the other guy were left. And I wasn't trying to hit on him, but we were the only singles. So I was like, hi, how are you? My name is. He completely shut me down. So I want to say for Seconda, you have to brace yourself, because no, I really was just genuinely being friendly, because we were the only singles. And he wouldn't even talk to me. So
my goodness, that's so disappointing.
It is disappointing, because there was a lot of other people there, but I thought I would start in it was 6 of us on a lane just to say hello. But what I take away from that is, because I asked him after a while, I tried those points that you were talking about, Tasia. I'm trying to find some common ground, because I was like, okay, we're both at the bowling alley. Do you like bowling? He's like, not really,
Yeah. So, but as the person before said, I guess never do it with expecting anything, because then that's when you can get disappointed.
So
just do it because you're naturally.
Yeah, I want to say it happens. It happens, and it kind of I wasn't trying to. It wasn't even somebody that I was trying to talk to, like be attracted to. But that just goes to show, like she said, use it as preparation. you know, use it as preparation, and don't take it as, okay, this guy is really not trying to have a conversation with you or whatever. Just, you know, say, okay, you know, keep it moving.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
anytime you extend yourself, you have to be, prepared and for rejection. And it may not even if someone rejects you, you can't really take it personally because it may be something going on with them. It's
Right.
not maybe not a comment about you or because we're reaching out. When you get rejected, it's like, man, I was personally rejected. It's just that person wasn't the right one for you, and they
I
probably
agree.
take a lot of time and energy and effort and all the things you would have invested.
Very good point. Yeah. So one other thing, what I'll say, so Davida, I mean, I'm using your story as an example, but what I found is that when you're in situations like that, because it's one thing if it's just, you're somewhere and you pass somebody, but if you're actually there for a reason, like he planned to be there. Like, he clearly didn't seem to want to be there. He didn't have to, like ask for your number, but he could have been, cordial. But what I found is that if you and another person or other people are in a certain place for a specific reason, it's intentional, and things like that occur, I start to pray, like, all right, God, you crossed our paths for a reason. Am I supposed to get or give something? Maybe it's not, relationship or whatever, but I'm not here by accident, and they're not here by accident, and it's clearly not this thing. So let me make sure that I'm on my assignment. What am I supposed to do? And if God's not giving you anything that you're supposed to receive or give, then but you just do that check-in, like, all right, let me make sure that I'm not missing it. But I do think that those things are intentional, and sometimes it's not even something that seems like a word to you because you don't know their situation, but you'll say something, and it means a lot to them, and so you just kind of be mindful of that when you're in certain things, because that's a strange thing to happen. Like you go to be in a social situation and you choose to be antisocial.
Well, let me just say this, because I heard everything you said. I, just like women may be standing around, say if you go to a lounge or something, and we are approached by a man who we might not necessarily be interested in, we know how to shut them down. And so the thing is, he did the same thing to me, okay? Because I don't think I was the type of woman that he was looking for, my whatever I was having on, my style or whatever. So like I said, I didn't, initially you take it personally, but then you realize, okay, it's okay. Because women, we do the same thing too. You have to let that person know. And so that was his way. He was not kind about it at all, but he did let me know, no, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm here to be social, but just not like with you. So I mean, I can laugh about it. I can laugh about it because I was like, we do that too.
I think it's levels. Like you treat people like you want to be treated, right? So you can shut them down at level 1, and if they don't take the hint, then you got to go to level 2, and then on up. But I would say first is kind of a signal that maybe this isn't it. But I wouldn't give you like I'm ready to bowl, something like that. That's the harsher the. I mean, you want to care for that person even in your rejection. You want to let the love of Christ, like how a Christ shot him do this.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Stephanie,
There's that personality too.
Yeah.
Different personalities.
Yeah, I mean, it saved you time.
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie, you had a comment?
Yeah, my comment is I'm really good at openers. I think I might even exit too quickly. I think that I'm really good at making friends, talking to a lot of people and engaging with them. But a lot of times, like, I'm never sure when a guy's interested in me really. And so I might exit in much the same way where, you know, I'll say have a great time at whatever event. But I think sometimes, you know, maybe you get caught up in working the room versus working the personality you're talking to. I'm not sure. But what are your comments on that?
Well, I think sometimes people do that because they're, well, in part, they're like cutting off the rejection. Like, okay, I'm gonna hop out of the conversation before you reject me, or I don't feel like you're interested, so I'm just gonna exit so you don't have to give me the levels, as as Chuck was saying. So, but sometimes you do cut yourself off from, you know, like they may be trying to figure out how to transition the conversation to a, you know, how can I talk to you again type of a thing. So you might need to give them that time, but at the same time, you know, if you're not feeling like it's going anywhere as far as like the energy that you're getting off of them, what they're saying is not really, you're not connecting with that, or they seem to be kind of, you know, looking for an out. And I didn't include it, but there's things about like the body language, the physical signs that a person is wanting to exit the conversation, where they're basically, in a nutshell, is that if their body is facing away from you or facing out from the conversation, then they're looking to either invite somebody else into the conversation or to exit the conversation. Whereas if they're more focused on you, then they're wanting to continue with just you and them. So you just kind of have to watch those nonverbal cues. And if you feel like they're maybe nervous or they're trying to figure it out, then you can kind of lead into, you know, like I think what I've said before, I think I was talking to somebody about a movie. And so my exit from the conversation was, well, if you want to go see the movie, let me know. And, you know, that left it for them to kind of say, yeah, you know, I would like to, or okay, I will, and, you know, not follow up or whatever. But, you know, it's an easy letdown or, you know, opening to, you know, continuing beyond that conversation. Sakanda, you had something?
Where can we find the data or in regards to how the letdowns, the nice letdowns are want to get out, what you were just speaking of?
Oh, that was Chuck talking about the levels.
No, yeah, I was just saying, like, if you know you know you're trying to reject somebody, and I think ladies are better at this than us. If you know a gentleman's like, hey, how's it going? You're not interested, and you're nice, you know, I got a boyfriend or something, like, even if you do or don't, you know, or or and then if he's still pressing, then you kind of go to level 2, no thank you, sir. And then if, you know, some people can get pretty wild. I've heard, I've never done it.
Sure, you're smiling over here. Matter of fact, I feel like you're practicing your lines. With a smile. They're not going to take it serious. Nah. But you were just saying how you didn't put it up, and you were saying how there's the body language of.
Oh yeah. So yeah, because I just didn't want it to run too long, but there's in that last video, she mentions body language cues of how to kind of get well, she mentioned what I said, but I've also heard other ones, like if you are interested, you do little things to let that person know. So like you can put your hand on their forearm or on their shoulder, body contact type of a thing, where that's showing interest. So this, I'm gonna share this because you asked me, but I'm not saying that anybody should do this. But for someone who is more tactile, meaning that, you know, touch is a thing for you, touching yourself causes a person, I'm just regular touching, not nothing, not nothing X-rated. I mean, just normal like touching. Like if if you're touching yourself, and women do it more because they tend to be cold. And so they'll like rub themselves, rub their thighs, different things to warm up. But it's nonverbal suggestive cues of, being touched. So if you're doing that, you're kind of bringing that to that person's attention. So if you don't want that, then be mindful of that.
That's that role play right here, girl.
I didn't know.
I think like hair, I've heard of hair, like if a woman brush her hair, then that makes you think.
Yeah.
I've never heard of like, she puts
I'm gonna brush my wig in front of him.
I did not know this.
I'm gonna do my wig. You think that'll work?
Oh man, you guys are funny.
I have
But
a question if nobody else has their hands up.
okay, go ahead.
So Davida, the gentleman, he just said that he didn't want to be there. I'm sorry if I misunderstood everything, but you guys didn't come together, correct?
No, we didn't. It was a singles mixer for basically for Valentine's, people who are unmarried, I'll say, because there were people who were couples who went as well, but they were just unmarried. But we talked for a little while, but I ascertained he's not a social person. He is pushing himself to be social. That's why he was there. Like at first he came off very cold, and I just finally said, "You're not that social, are you?" And he's like, "No, can you tell?" And I'm just like, "Oh, no wonder you're single." Something you have to.
When he said that, that actually was I see a door open right there. Correct me, Jones.
Well,
if I'm wrong. I was gonna say
yes.
that was a door opening right there to be like, well, you know what? Now is a good time to start to be social. Come on, let's get in this game.
Trust me, I went there. You guys know me. I'm a very open person, and I pulled out all the stops. So that's why at the beginning, in the end, I finally realized he does want to meet someone. I just wasn't her, and I'm okay with that. He was looking for something else.
And nothing personal. And even let's just take you out. It just was not his day. How about that? Because if you say it wasn't you, then it goes back into the personal. Because you could have been his type, but what if he just found out about something that was disturbing to him? Or what if his mindset was like, I really only came out to get some things off my mind, but I'm still having a hard time. So if we take us out, and that's where the expectations are not taking it as rejection, even if it could have been like you said, oh, you're not sociable. And he's like, oh, you can tell. And you're like, well, I hope you end up having a good day or just whatever and walk away. And don't take it personal because one, he doesn't know you. You don't know him. And I believe what we do is we always judging people from our own standpoint of how we would think somebody would judge us. So for the benefit of the doubt, there was nothing wrong with you. It's just that that was just not his.
It wasn't a connection. It just wasn't.
And that's going to happen. There are going to be about, out of 100 people, it may be, 50 people that reject us and 25 that says yes, but not 100% sure. And we find out we don't connect. And then the other, 10 may be, yeah, we did connect, but this just still didn't work. And the other remainders is what will work. I just did a graph.
Go ahead.
Tashawn, I just did a graph.
You did a graph?
Yeah, that was like a graph. All right. I'm getting better at my math.
Secunda. Well,
I just got in at 4 this morning. I'm still sleepy. I'm gonna
so you're punch drunk. Okay, I got you. So what I was gonna say is the other thing too, is having faith that God knows what's best. Because sometimes you can see like, a person is being so great with everybody else, and then you get into this conversation and it's like, why you got a problem with me? And sometimes God is like, you know what? That's a no for you. I need you to know that this is not going to go anywhere, because if it does, it's going to be a problem. And sometimes it's because we're thinking, oh, this is going well. I don't know if any of you guys, I've had this experience where, the chemistry, whatever, good conversation, everything's going really, really good. And then it just ends up being like, this is the same dude. This is the same dude again from, so if God wants to say, yeah, you know what, this person is going to have a staying attitude with you, so you can understand that this is not the road you want to go down again. This is the same guy with a different name, or the same woman with, a different name. Yeah. So thank you for the intervention, Lord.
Yep.
Yes.
Early on.
Right. Yeah. Before you even, get into that. But yeah, some people do struggle with social skills, and Jay has mentioned this, and he's diligently working. So I'm gonna speak for us, and Secunda can chime in. But although I'm pretty comfortable and I can just stand up and talk in front of people and everything, in those types of situations where it's supposed to be social, mixer, whatever, I do shy a little bit, because in part because my personality is bigger, but also because I like to read the room first. I like to get acclimated. Some people can just walk in and they're like, hey, they just are the life of the party from the time they hit the door. That is not me.
That's a 7.
So
that's a 7.
Yeah. So I once I feel like, okay, I'm comfortable, I got my feel for what's going on here, then I can, start out. But at first I am standoffish. And I'll talk, but I won't be as big on my communication, my personality as I normally am initially. And and I tell my coworkers that, I'm an introvert, and they're like, no, you're not.
Yes, I am. Same thing. I'm what you call slow to warm. I like to read the room and watch my surroundings first before I let all of me out. But I'm very I can be loquacious, but then sometimes I just be quiet. I just watch for a long time. I'm like that with relationships too.
Yeah. Agreed, Chuck. I think that people show you a lot. If you watch, they show you a lot. So was everyone able to finish all the assignments? You have your I was gonna say to get posted so you can put it on your mirror for your affirmations, but I was like, I didn't prepare y'all. I didn't put that in the little workshop planning. So you can get some tape from the Dollar Tree or something, put it on your mirror. But it's I think that one of the benefits of us coming together is that we do kind of wake each other up. We have a feel good discussion and things like that, but you want to, you sometimes it's just you and your thoughts. It's just you and, and so you want to be able to have that keep going. So one thing that I do, and you guys, I would like it if you guys could share what you do, but one thing that I do, and I actually taught a workshop on this about the power of music, and finding a song that will immediately put you in the right emotional, spiritual, mental state of mind. Because sometimes something can really eat away at us, whether it's something going on with our family, our own personal life, job, whatever. And, life says you just got to, you can't always just stop and, sit in that moment. You have to keep things going until you have the time or opportunity. And so I have songs that I know will put me in the right frame of mind to do what I have to do. But my class was about, you know, having a theme song for yourself, you know, like what you feel like kind of embodies or represents like who you are and what, you know, what you're about or whatever. But just for the sake of this, like something that, you know, and I mean, sometimes it's a religious or spiritual song and sometimes it's not. But just something that when you hear it, it snaps you back to, okay, I remember who I am. I remember, you know, whose I am. I remember, you know, that this is temporary. I'm going to be okay. I'm okay. So what, if anybody wants to share, do you do that kind of gives you that, like, holds you together or brings you back to or pulls you out of that negative spiral?
I'll just share that I read or heard recently, when you do start to have those negative thoughts come into your head, immediately stop it and just re-uplift yourself. Just take that negative and turn it into a positive, because a lot of times we don't realize, but our energy can manifest what we're thinking or feeling. And a lot of us might be in a place in our lives where we don't want to be because of past actions or thoughts. You know, it's really powerful. I've learned that that's really a powerful thing. So when you do start to think negative, just immediately catch yourself and just re-uplift yourself. Just uplift yourself. Just say, I'm a child of God. You know, mine, I'll just share it. I always say, I am loved, I am desired, and I am needed.
Yeah,
And
I love that.
yeah, and that just immediately, whatever I'm feeling, that just makes me feel so much better, you know, because I am a part of something special, you know. So whatever you're feeling, just catch it and just re-uplift yourself, and you'll be amazed at how you can get through the day.
Hey, that's good, Mo. Can I tell you, just to piggyback on that, I think it's so important for us as singles to already have that knowledge of ourselves and our God who created us. Because the thing is, when you feel the rejection, or when you say, dang, I'm in my 40s now, well, that's me, and I'm not married, you know, you feel like less than. And so you already need to be in the practice of telling yourself these truths, because when the stuff hits the fan at that moment, it's hard to remind yourself of something you don't already know. You know, so it has to be ingrained within you. It becomes like a habit. Like, okay, how did I get out of this rut last time I was in it? Every holiday I go through the same thing. You know, how did I get past last year? Because like right now I'm feeling really terrible. Like I'm never going to find someone, or I'm never going to achieve the life that I thought I was going to have. And the truth is that that's not the truth. The truth is that, you know, if I'm still breathing, if I got air in my lungs, then this life is worth living regardless, and it's a gift. That's the truth. So you have to tell yourself these things on a daily basis, so when that stuff does happen, you already prepared. It's already in your mind, you know. Because I mean, any one of us, I'll make it personal. Like I have 8 sisters. All of them have been married but me. So of course in my family, they're wondering, what's wrong with Dee, you know? And I'm like, I have to tell myself there's nothing wrong with me. You know, there's absolutely nothing. I know when the man God has for me is going to be spectacular. You know, he got to be. I waited all this time, you know. And it gives me the time that I need to do so that I can be spectacular for him, you know? And that's what you have to tell yourself. You have to take it, like Mo said, take that negative and flip it right on over. Be like, oh no, I'm not even gonna look at it like that.
Yeah, I'm kind of like you. When I start looking at that and I look at being single, I have to remind myself the areas in my life where God has gifted me and the things that I have accomplished, some that exceed my expectations. And then I just have to remember that, hey, you know, I'm single, but maybe God is still preparing me in this area. Maybe there's something that he wants me to learn. It's not that I'm failing, but maybe I haven't met his time yet.
Yeah, that's the truth. And knowing like, and I think Secunda Hickles can probably second this one because she's fantabulous too. I know that my personality, I have times where I think I'm introverted, but when I get to really know a person, I will share and I can be loud and boisterous at times. And so I'm like, you know, that person for me is going to have to love every part of me. And it's not going to be your everyday, it's going to have to be somebody that's crafted by God, you know, specifically to handle me. And I'm going to be specifically able to handle that person's whims too. So sometimes that takes time. And everyone that is bunned up or already married or in a relationship doesn't necessarily have that connection, but they're just with another body. You know, so do you want to just be with someone just for the sake of being with them? Or do you want to have a God-given connection with that person? And that's what I want, because I don't intend to get married and then be divorced. I don't want to do that. You know, I'm not going into it with that mindset. So if it takes a little extra time on the front end, then I'll do it.
Yes, that's why I decided to end my 15-year relationship. I was in a 15-year relationship and we just never could get on the same page. And I just got so sick and tired of going in the same cycle over and over again. So I just was like, you know what? This is the most unfulfilling relationship I have in my life right now. So I have to let this go, even if I'm afraid of being single or whatever it may be, or starting over. You know, sometimes you just got to do that because it's just not right. You know, if you're not feeling it and you just know it ain't right, get out of it. Even if you're afraid of starting over or whatever it may be, you know, just get on out of it.
Yeah. So I think what Mashawn has said in the chat is really powerful, because sometimes we do get in our own heads so much in doing for others. I mean, she mentioned prayer, but also just doing something for other people gives us the opportunity to have kind of a different perspective of our situation when we're able to see what other people kind of have to deal with, have to live with, and having more compassion for ourselves as well as other people. Because sometimes we really beat ourselves up about things because of disappointments or because things don't go the way that, you know, that we felt that they should or would. But that, you know, that can make us kind of get in a rut and be stuck, versus just saying, okay, it's not what I planned, but I'm able, God is able, and I'm moving on and taking with me what I learned from this situation, this experience, and into something good that, you know, at minimum, I won't go through this again. But Davida, the other thing that I thought about when you were talking was, I used to think that, you know, okay, you know, it's being prepared. And I used to be like, whoever this is, they need to get it together. Because
because you was already together.
Well, right, because I'm like, I know I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, you know, but you know, because there's sometimes where you just have those moments where you're like, you know, everything's just clicking. You're like, okay, you know, me and God are good, you know, I'm on my schedule, I'm praying, you know, I'm doing all these things, and you're like, what are they doing over there?
Yes.
What is the problem? So
Hey.
But yeah, and then, you know, then something happens, you're like, okay, I'm still learning.
Yep. Right. You're like, all right, I'm not all that perfect. I'm not there yet. But
Myself, yeah, I've been listening and I wanted to make a comment about what someone said there about ending a 15-year relationship. So I think, this has become more as a support group for me also. And I wasn't expecting that. This is great. So what I think, I was in a relationship, which at the time, but was very meaningful. And I felt like it was a God kind of design relationship, but that didn't work out. And I feel like after that, I've always been conflicted. Did I make a mistake, or was it am I being punished because that didn't work out? Was that the relationship? And so I've always been conflicted by that for quite a while. But I do try to remember that you have to live the present, and I don't think whatever happened in the past, I don't want to believe that maybe God is punishing me for that, or it wasn't like my fault or her fault. It was a mutual kind of separation. But I feel like it's been kind of hard to when I try to move forward, I always feel like, did I make a mistake? Was she the one? And did I miss my chance, my one ever chance? But I feel like I have to constantly remind myself that that can't be the case. So I just wanted to mention that, because what someone said there really kind of resonated. And I really like the conversation, what I've been hearing here. Just wanted to share that little bit.
Thank you, Marcel. We're happy to have you with us. Thank you for sharing and turning your camera on. Yes, I'm talking about all y'all with your camera off. So
I kind of have my head wrap on, so I don't really know if that's appropriate for the conversation.
You got her head wrap on.
You better turn the camera on. Marcus loves head wraps.
Yes.
Matter of fact, you can meet
Boom.
Marcus at a premiere.
And she got glasses on.
Uh-oh.
Hey, sister girl.
You can meet Marcus today at a premiere. It's called The Yard at the Milkshake, and he'd love to see you in your hair wrap.
Well,
And
actually, I am in Charlotte.
I could have picked you up on my way in. Oh my gosh, you should have hit me up. I would have got you. I mean, it wouldn't have been a problem. You just would have had to find your way back.
What is JL talking about in the chat?
No,
Somebody sliding into somebody's DMs.
Oh gosh.
Can I say, when they said it on, when they said it on, what's that movie? Are We There Yet?
Mm-hmm.
The kid was like, mommy says, if you're over 30, it's talking to a guy, and I don't know why it stuck with me, when talking to a guy. She's talking to Ice Cube. He was saying, like, if you're over 35 and you're single and not in a serious relationship, either broken or gay. And I was like, at 35 and then going on, I was like, man, hold up. What's going on? So, like, I know I don't like dudes, so
I must be broken.
Am I? Because now I'm like almost 40. And I'm like, man, what's going on? So, I don't know if other guys on here that have never been married and never been in like a serious relationship ever faced that, but that's like where I'm facing. Like, man, I've never really, outside of one, never really had like a serious relationship like that, and like I'm facing like 40, and I'm like, man, what's going on?
You know what?
What's
That's
going
interesting, Taejon, because that sounds like I don't hear a lot of men feel that way. A lot of women talk about their clock and what's going on with me, and it's like, but that just shows like a godly man who would like to have something, not just go into it haphazardly for a physical. You don't get married, or you just don't get somebody just like that because you're waiting on something more. And it obviously it happens with men too. You look at yourself and be like, okay, what am I doing wrong? Because I haven't found that person. So for me to hear him say that, it's kind of refreshing, because it's like you feel like, oh man, while we're out here waiting for something better, these guys, even the godly men, are just getting whatever comes along. But that's not the case. So
Does anybody else have anything that they kind of do to remind themselves that all is well?
I can say I attempt, but it didn't work that well for me. I normally I think I become very flustered when I get to that those points, and I'm in my head a lot about what I might have done wrong or said wrong or whatever. I am one of those socially awkward people, and but I do have my moments, and I don't know when they are going to come or whatever, that I am, you know, more of a talker or whatever. And I'm like, who is this chick? You know, can you show up all the time? But it just doesn't happen that way. And I like what someone mentioned earlier about just, it takes me time. A lot of times I think that for me, when I do meet people, it can come across as being rude or standoffish, and it's not that. And I could be enjoying the person or whatever, I smiling and all, and or talking or whatever. But I guess it's something that is possibly read from what I'm giving off that can, I guess, have the person disengage. But I guess what helps me the most is rest or getting away from the situation. A lot of times when I'm stuck there, I feel, to be honest with you, like running. And but yeah, but when I calm down and, like, you know, maybe watch a movie, get my mind off of it, then that's better for me.
So Sheila, I think a lot of people kind of I mean, no matter what your personality, I think everybody gets that moment of, you know, kind of questioning and feeling like uncomfortable or awkward or nervous, or, you know, especially if you start to care about how it's going versus it just being like, oh, you know, I just met this person and whatever happens happens. Right. So what my, and I'm not good with small talk. I'm like, I'm deep dive right off the rip. And so that's another reason why I'm a little bit, you know, standoffish, because, you know, some people don't want to get into all of that, right? You know, when they first meet you, like, you know, you walk in like, what are your dreams? You know,
right? They want to, right? They want to keep it light. They want to keep it light, and they want to keep it simple. I'm neither one. So
right. So what I do, because people love talking about themselves. So my out is to get people to talk about themselves, and therefore that gives me time to just kind of sit back and not have to, you know, like carry, like, oh, I don't know what to say, or, you know, I'm just like, okay, and they say something there, and I'll just pick that thing out, and I'm like, you know, so they talk about that more. Tell me more about this.
But you know what? Even with that, I got you on that. But even with that, like I catch myself thinking about the next thing I'm going to say, and then I'm forgetting to listen to what they say, and it's just kind of like, what were we talking about? So.
Yeah, I remember watching a segment about conversation, and that was one of the things that was recommended from a professional, is that we have to force ourselves to only focus on what's being said in that moment versus trying to think about what we're going to say next. Because in that moment is where you truly have a conversation versus having a mindless interaction.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
I think too, it's.
Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah. I think too that for me, it's reassuring to when you can see how God protects you from certain situations when it comes to relationships, because you can have an intention of, man, I want to talk to that person, and then for whatever reason that just don't work out. Then later on down the line, like, okay, now I see why I couldn't talk to you.
I'm gonna testify, praise him. Yes, that's true. It's true.
I just want to piggyback on what he was saying. That is so true. A lot of times we think that we know more than God and we know what's best, but God knows what we don't even know. He knows the things that may have taken place in our younger years. Who knows why we are steady making some of the choices that we're making, and we may not even realize this is the root of it. And when we have our alone time, it's not the rejection time. It's the, I got to get to know me. I need to get to know him. So when someone is not for you, one thing I had to learn how to say is, God said he will not withhold one good thing from me. So that means that person's not good enough for me. So why, a lot of times we just want to get rid of the symptom instead of getting to the root of the situation and having an everlasting. And then if we just get rid of the symptom and we get in something, then we're back into a replay and finding ourselves digging a deeper ditch, because when you're in a hole, you got to stop digging. It's time to start climbing out and get to the root of it. So I believe that when we learn how to be truly honest with ourselves, and that truly honest could be, I don't like being single. I don't want to be single. It bothers me. And that's all that you take to him. And then he goes, and then he can say, okay, thank you. Now I got something I can work with because you're handing it over to me. Let me show you something. This is why you're single. This is why I protected you from such and such, from him and her. Because later on down the line, this person was going to have you ending up in jail or in the grave, or this person was going to have you dealing with some major low self-esteem, or, you wanted that house. Remember you said you wanted that house? Well, that person never gonna get their credit together, So those are things that we have to understand, that he gets to the depth. We always looking at the surface. And that's why we emphasize so much on our outer appearances, because we only, focus on the surface majority of the time, instead of getting down into the depths of it. Like Tashawn is a person, she has that witty nerd side to her, so for her, you need to know some college words, as I call them $25, $50 college words. You got to I get the word of the day from dictionary, and people used to laugh at me when they'll ask. I said, hold on, if I want to know the true meaning, I would pull the dictionary out of my purse. It was like, you have a dictionary? I said, yeah. If you don't know the word, look it up. I said, that's not dumb, that's smart. And people would sit up there and go, to think about it, yes. Because somebody looked at it as, what is somebody going to think about me pulling out a dictionary? I'm going to look at it and be like, that's a smart person. And you'll be surprised the traditions that you pass on. We are here to be a light in the world. When we come into the room, I like what my pastor said. One of the pastors said, we should have people who look at us and say, it demands an explanation of who we are, because we're that much of a light in the world. We are the trendsetters. We're not supposed to blend in. If that's the case, how are they going to be able to spot us out? So the whole point is that we have to, Marcel, thank God for saving us instead of condemning us. We got to stop the condemning. We got to allow God to show us what needs to be shown. We have to allow him to do the work in us, because if we wake up every day doing the Groundhog Day or the replay, we're not getting anywhere. And congratulations to the young lady who decided to say 15 years was too long to wait for somebody to say, will you marry? Because you come to that point of discovering, I'm worth more than this. I'm worth somebody being somebody's wife. I'm worth, even if it costs me to be single for the rest of my life, at least I love myself. These are standing up, and we have to understand, instead of looking at it as a down, look at it as up, because we took the stand to say, I know my value, I know my self-worth, and you know what? If God has to do The Bachelor for me like he did for Esther. So that's the first series, you guys. I found that out. Read it, Esther. It's the first bachelor series. You know, then he'll do it for me. What if he has to move 5 million people to do something on my behalf, then that's what he'll do. So understand that, yes, it doesn't feel good because it's the flesh, but also we have to be connected in the spirit. So when we hear the word no, or that's not for us, we can go back to, so God said he would never withhold one good thing from me. And that person must not be good enough for me, not as a down thing for them, but as in that's not who he has called for me. He is not short in anything. When he made the world, when he said it is finished, it is finished. Look at what's happening today. The president, we can't even predict the weather in certain areas anymore. Houston, Texas is having a hard time, you know, and they're around this time it starts to heat up again. I used to live there. Around this time it starts to get ready to start heating up again, and they're freezing, unprepared. So and with them being unprepared, trust me, God has sent some kind of message, some kind of indication of get ready kind of thing. But it's all about, are we going to listen? Are we going to listen? Are we going to try to jump on the plane like Ted did? Or are we going to stay there and say, you know what?
Leave him alone. His kids wanted to go on vacation.
Oh, man, I paid my taxes in Houston. That's you go down with the ship.
He don't believe that lie himself. No.
But are we going to sit up there and we're going to say, you know what? I'm going to stay here, find out about myself, learn something about myself. Even if you're learning that, you know what, I do like zucchini and squash. I may not have liked it back then, but I love it now. You know what I'm saying? So those things, discovering you, because then when you do discover you may find out, shoot, I'm no longer in this bracket over here. I'm actually in this bracket. So that's why that didn't work. Yeah. I got to go ahead and allow God to keep on upgrading me. You know what I'm saying?
You know what, Hickles? What helps me be able to walk away is that I knew I wanted to be more obedient, especially in my walk with God. And I just felt like in that relationship, I just was not obedient. And I decided to let my faith outweigh my fear. I was so afraid of starting over. We lived in New York. I moved all the way from New York to Texas because I also wanted cheaper rent. And
that was why you moved. That's the
rent. That's the real reason. Like, dude, this ain't working. I know Texas ain't your type. But I'm just gonna throw you off, you know, with your little straightforward New Yorker style. I don't think so.
Yes, but that's what it was. I just wanted to be more obedient because this relationship was not allowing me to be obedient, and I wanted cheaper rent. And I also just decided, you know what, I'm gonna let my faith outweigh my fear of starting over, you know, because I know I do deserve someone that actually wants to make me his wife. And that's when I know we were just unequally yoked. So yeah, that's what helped. I just decided to step out on faith and let that fear go.
Yeah. And you know, once again, congratulations, because somebody needs to hear that story. And when you were speaking of your story, it made me think about when Steve Harvey was talking about a young lady. He tells this story about a young lady who was mixed in with this married guy. They would meet every certain day out of the week at this restaurant. And she had to finally let go. And once she let go, she seen the gentleman who used to be like their server there. And he was like, yeah, I haven't seen you in the restaurant in a couple of months. She was like, yeah, I had to finally let go because I wasn't making room for God to bless me. And guess what? Those two end up getting married because he's been keeping his eye on her, had great interest in her. And then with her background of finances, his background of hospitality in the restaurant area, they end up owning 3 restaurants. So sometimes we think that our ideal person is what, like how Jay says, is the Hollywood type or who we think is supposed to be. And God will blow our mind. God will blow our minds so far beyond our understanding if we just open up, allow him to get in. The part is that we are so scared because we think that God's going to take something from us sometimes. And we're also to be afraid of what he's going to show us. And he said that I'll never leave you nor forsake you. And
start remembering he is a song, like the song says, I'm a friend of God. Well, if he's our friend, then don't we tell our friend, let's look at it, let's take it to the next level. If he's our best friend, we shouldn't hide anything from our best friend. We're supposed to be comfortable to come to our best friend. And then we can do the excuse of, well, he already knows. Yes, he knows, but the point of us releasing it and telling him is to get it off of us and laying it at his feet. And is it Termina?
Termina, yes, it's Termina.
I just want to say those glasses are fabulous on you. Right along with your head wrap, girl.
Thank you.
So there's my one thing I'm doing today. Also, is compliment everybody. So that's part of the premier thinking outside the box.
Okay.
Cool. I'm talking to you guys. I'm done. I tried to put a hair wrap on, but I just stuck with the hat.
Thank you.
Yes, you're gorgeous.
Thank you.
I mean, seriously, you are. Your smile is radiant. Your face is radiant. I mean, your teeth is white as could be. I'm just like, how do I get there? Your glasses is flawless. Your hair wrap. I mean, your personality is just glowing.
That's how you do it right there. That's how you do it. You hear that, fellas?
I was so
Oh, come on now. You know, if a guy walked up to a woman and said all that, she'd be like, thank you.
You look at
Right.
it,
I have to chime in and agree. Just saying.
And then we get back in the car. We like, he said he liked my head wrap. Really? Did he?
But he's crazy. That's what we think. That's what we think. Like, he's crazy.
Sean, you were saying something?
Oh, sorry,
I
Sean.
said, I was agreeing. If we were to say something like that, y'all thought would be, okay, what he really wants so he can get out of my face.
No, don't be judging us, Sean, because your smile is radiant too. Look at that.
But he's telling the truth. He's telling the truth. Like, it's like, that's too much.
What's the motive? It's too good to be true.
You can always start off with, you know what, I noticed your smile. It's so radiant. That's, be a poet with it.
Right.
Be a
You say something like that, we're going to be thinking about you all day.
Look at
Yeah.
our resident poet Marcus is
I wrote it on
Marcus.
Y'all know
Marcus, like I did that.
Marcus got the coolest lines, you guys. I think he got the coolest line.
Yeah, I tried all that. I wrote all that, and still single. So
She's for you, Marcus. She's not the best for you, Marcus. Okay, and you don't want to settle for less.
Yes.
Not everybody likes McDonald's. Not everybody likes Chick-fil-A. You want what's for you.
Yes.
And in
I've been Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, Wendy's, Waffle House, Papa Joe's, Chris. I've been all those things.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Go vegan. Go vegan. Go vegan. Go vegan.
I have.
Go vegan.
Oh my God.
So not Popeyes. He said Waffle House. Jay said Popeyes. Jay, get off the line now. You've been evicted. But you know you're gonna say churches. Oh, hey Sheila, I have something to say to you.
Yes.
Do you overthink when you're like how you were saying sometimes you leave the conversation, you're not being present in the moment because you're trying to prepare yourself to engage, but you have less being engaged because is it part of you think you overthink?
Absolutely. I think it's that. And then I too don't like small talk at all.
We just like to get straight to the punch.
She's like, you like me? You want to get to know me? I want to get to know you too. You don't like me? I don't want to talk to you either.
You know I'm into role playing. I got my hair wrap on today.
Oh God.
So,
you know what that means. Remember that picture of that with the lady? Pink got a picture just like that.
so my question to the people that don't like small talk, to the ladies especially, I keep asking this: how honest do you want guys to be?
Be honest.
As long as you can take it, you bring it, I'm gonna give it back.
Yeah.
So don't give what you can't take.
Yeah.
Michonne.
Oh, yes.
That's a loaded question because you're saying how honest do we want guys to be? We want you to be yourself, because the quicker you are yourself, like some guys, well, now I won't say some guys, I would say the majority of men are visually attracted to someone first, right? But if you just come out and be like, boom, you looking like, you know, just great or whatever, but you say it in a inappropriate way or something, that's going to tell us off the break, I need to be with someone with a little more tact and some more control. So that's what I'm saying. Just be yourself. Don't be dishonest. Be yourself, because there's some woman who's going to like if you talk to her a certain way. It just might not be the one you're talking to at that moment. You know, some women like to be talked to a certain way. So you have to, you know, really look at your approach and say, okay, what is it that I want? And that's why I think it's very important to engage with someone for a while, because people can only show you their representative but for so long. So go ahead and engage. And once you know, like JL says, once you know this is not a love connection, that's when you make your exit, you know, as best you can.
I think it's important to choose somebody that you can be yourself with.
Yeah, that's
if the happiness of your relationship is contingent upon you not being your authentic self or telling them what they want to hear, then you're just a placeholder, and that's male or female. Because when you really care about somebody, you tell them the truth.
That's so true. It is.
If somebody, I mean, and it's not to say that they're going to receive it well initially, but the core of it is trust. And so if they trust that you're there for them, if they believe that you're doing it out of love, and of course, you know, your delivery needs to be kind, you know, but if you have that you know, that foundation of trust, then they're going to receive what you're saying with that in mind. Now, if you're saying things only very honestly when y'all are at odds, and now all of a sudden you want to like share all the stuff that, like, you know what, that dress did make you look fat. If you're doing that, then of course, you know, there's a problem. You should have a rapport where all the time you can say, you don't have to say, yeah, it doesn't make you look fat. You just say, you know, I really like you in this dress. This really flatters your, you know, better or what have you. But you should have that trust in your relationship where you can tell each other the truth. Because you don't want to, you know, see that mustard on their face and don't say nothing, and then they go out in public with you and everybody else see the mustard on their face. You know, and they're telling you like, why didn't you tell me before I left the house? Well, you know, you don't really like when people tell you. No, that's not gonna work. That's gonna be a problem. Yes, Trisha, I'm very self-reflective too. But yeah, Sheila, I go down the rabbit hole of things they're saying, or it'll remind me of something that has nothing to do with the conversation. I mean, all kinds of things, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in a conversation. So what you say?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, you know, you just have to kind of keep reining yourself in. It can be difficult though. It can be hard. But practice.
Yeah.
Practice.
I gotta practice my multitasking in a conversation.
Yeah.
Sheila, with that, you can tell yourself like a reminder. You can start this before you even get in with anybody. So stay focused on the topic. Stay focused on the assignment. Stay focused, don't overthink it. I was just having a talk with a young man about he said he was overthinking he's 20 and it was in regards to career wise. I said, so you overthinking, you do realize that you could have probably been halfway through with certain things. And after we had our whole conversation yesterday before I left North Carolina area, he said he finally made his decision. Because I was telling him, I said, just pick, just make a decision. You're only 20. If it doesn't work out, at least you tried. I said, we have let's say you're here until you're 100, you have 80 more years. You're gonna overthink, keep on overthinking for 80 years. I said, that's a lot. I said, and on top of that, we have to be mindful. We open the door for fear to come in from the enemy. We open the door for low self-esteem to come in. All these things that we open doors, and then we say we don't understand how the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. It's because we passed it over to him. So with the overthinking, don't overthink, because then you're pushing your blessings away. This person may be the next connection to who you really want. And you just be in the moment and say, you know what, my attention span is going to be on right now. And if I need to say something important, or if there's something that I need to really say, God's going to give it to me. But be in the moment. Sheila, do your role playing as you do.
I got the role playing on the outside. I need to get it from the inside out.
For Christmas, Vince Vaughn and what's her name? Darn it, they do the role playing at the club in the very beginning, and I think that is such a cool way that they put a spark in their relationship. It's Reese Witherspoon, how they role played in the very beginning, and then next you know he catches her attention by calling her, a degrading name. That's their role playing, and then they're in the bathroom getting it on. But the whole point is that they do some role playing. So just even at home, just practice. Hold a conversation, or even ask one of your good friends to hold a conversation.
Yes, that movie Hickles is talking about is called Four Christmases. Yes. That's my movie.
I love it.
I need to look it up.
Girl, it's funny. It's a yearly thing I watch every year.
Yes.
Yes. I didn't even get to watch it during like the actual Christmas time. I kid you not. I watched it like a couple of weeks ago because I was like, oh yeah, I finally get to catch up on what I didn't get to watch. But yeah, it's just the role playing, and it's just, attention catching and just getting comfortable. That's all. Because if we really want what we want, we have to understand we do have to do our part. God already done his part, but we do have to do our part.
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing I will say that I learned is not to take myself so seriously, but just kind of have fun with it. So that's because one thing I am tired of, I'm tired of being fearful. And so I have decided that I want to say yes more to a lot more things instead of saying no to them. So that's for me outside of my normal comfort zone. And that's been somewhat helpful.
Are you coming out today?
Yeah.
Yep, she's coming.
Good.
With her plus one.
With her I got plus one. He just turned 21. Okay. So I'm bringing him out. We're gonna celebrate. Mm-hmm. If you guys don't mind, it's my son. Don't think I'm son.
So y'all might
in the chat.
Y'all know I'm down here today from Baltimore. I came all the way to see y'all.
Oh, good. I was gonna ask you that. I apologize.
No, it's okay. And it's me and both of my sons. We did a family trip down here.
Oh, awesome. How old are they?
My son is 23. I got a 23-year-old and I got a 7-year-old.
Oh, good. So then my 21-year-old, I have somebody to talk to, and then they can
exactly
on how to get us some free ice cream.
Well, that's the thing. I said, we going for ice cream. I said, do y'all not do dinner in Atlanta? Like, I'm gonna be eating dessert and then dinner.
Yeah, I'm thinking about going to Papa Do's afterwards. So my girl in Texas know about Papa Do's stuff.
Well, I would like to go somewhere. I'm here until next Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we all can. Yeah, I don't mind going out to eat. I'm a thick sister.
Hey, food is my friend.
Somebody want to pick me up and bring me up with y'all to go eat ice cream?
You want to come?
Yes. You got to pick me up though.
Where you at?
Savannah.
Where is that?
Very
How
funny,
far is that?
Sean. Very funny.
Bye,
Too far.
Trisha.
Bye, Trisha. So the normal time is over, but we usually hang out. So if you want to go, thanks for joining. If you're hanging out,
Uber
I'm
this.
stopping the video.